And they said, what? I said, that, look.
When I saw it, it was the first indication that anybody saw anything.
I was there looking at it on my windshield as I'm driving. I'm going, holy crap.
And I never seen anything until this thing.
When the first UFOs were spotted in the modern era in 1947, a pilot by the name of Ken Arl reported them over the Cascade Mountains. And he said that they were, they looked like discs skipping across water, saucers skipping across water. However, the objects that he saw were boomerang in shape. They were chevron in shape. And he said they flew like saucers skipping across water. And of course the news picked it up and the term flying saucer was born. One of the greatest number of reports came from March 24th, 1983, all over Westchester and Putnam County. And how many sightings took place that night? Thousands is a conservative estimate. And what people saw was an object that they described being larger than a football field with lights on it, slowly gliding over the highway, the Taconic, and some of the major routes, 84, and some of the major routes, and going over to some of the homes in the area, and at times projecting down a brilliant beam of light, engulfing either a car, an individual, or a home. The lights were green, yellow, red, blue, and the object seemed to be like a boomerang shape in the front, but people reported a triangular dark shape in the back, that it was sort of like a gray metal, very massive. Some people reported a slight humming sound, like an electrical motor. Most people reported no sound, and some of the descriptions were like a city in the sky. That's how well lit it was. When it went over Yorktown, it caused such a stir that all the police lines were jammed with people reporting UFOs. And a number of police officers also saw it that night.
As I said, I was on patrol and I was traveling northbound on 118 towards the Triangle Center. And I saw what appeared to be a large commercial airliner, because all I could see was a tremendous object, wing-shaped, coming towards me, towards the Triangle Center. At this time, I had like landing lights, all white lights that stretched out about, I would say, a good 100 to 200 yards. The elevation at this time was very low. That's why it concerned me. I thought it was in trouble, and I really had deep apprehension at this time that this craft was actually coming to land or to crash. It wasn't moving at a very high speed either. That was got my curiosity up. I pulled up the side of the road. Now, as I was looking at it, all of a sudden, all the lights went off, and instantaneously, a complete bank row of lights, alternating blue, green, and there's another color too. I'm not really sure, like an amber color, just banked right across. Like kind of like it made a sound, kind of like. Now, as I was watching, now I'm saying to myself, what is this thing? It's so big. Is it a dirigible? I mean, what is it? I mean, it's a tremendous wing-shaped object. It had to be at least, maybe even more than 200 yards. So it took over the whole sky where Triangle Center was. Now, I was watching it. It actually, at this point, it stopped. This is when I really kind of got actually a little frightened. It stopped in midair and pivoted, like on an axis, and started to move westward towards 202, and then eventually I lost sight of it because it went over the hill.
We'd be sitting somewhere in a car or driving along the road, and over the horizon, big panorama of lights would just rise up over the horizon, and just come either right at us or past us, or and you couldn't. For the most part, you couldn't tell if it was a solid object.
When I saw it was the first indication that anybody saw anything.
You immediately called it in.
No, I didn't call it in. I actually went to the station. I didn't even put it on the air. I drove right here. I said, you can't believe what I just saw in the sky. And that's when Samuels, the guy from the highway department, pulled up right behind me. He goes, "Kevin, did you see that?" I said, "Yeah, I saw it too." "What was that?" "I don't know."
And then there's this one night that I'm making the drawing about. We were up there, and we had been scanning over the hills, over the horizon, to see if anything would come up over the hills, which was normally the case. And it was in the winter, in the dead of winter, and so the reservoirs were frozen. And as we stood here on the side of the road, we just saw a bunch of lights light up right on the reservoir and just lifted off the reservoir ice, and then just went on its way over the hills, and it was very strange. So that would be, I think, one of our best sightings, although we had many sightings where we would be in the car and driving around through all these hills and the roads up there in Putnam County and Dutchess County, and just following it. And often you could follow the lights across Route 84 to heading west. Route 84 drops off, and to the northwest of it is just a big valley that goes up, if you know where that is. And, they would just go up, fly through that valley and just disappear. Sometimes they would go east over Danbury and that area there.
Okay, this was on Sunday morning, Saturday going into Sunday morning around 12:30. I was coming from a blues club in Peekskill. I was driving on the Taconic, and this was just north of 301, the Cold Spring exit. I remember passing the Cold Spring exit. A few minutes afterwards, as I'm driving on the Taconic, I'm driving, and on the top part of my windshield, I saw these lights. There was anywhere between 10 and 15 lights, and it was a very weird thing to see on top of the Taconic, the whole series of 10 to 15 lights. And as I'm driving, I see these lights moving very slowly, and these are unlike airplanes that I've seen flying all the time. I always see planes flying overhead, with the 3 lights, the 4 lights, the formation of lights, which are always planes. But these lights were bigger than the plane lights. They were 3 or 4 times the size of the plane lights. And there was a whole series of them between 12 and 15, and that is what freaked me out, because as I'm driving, I see these whole multitude of lights traveling in a circular formation, going very, very slowly. And usually when I see planes flying, I'll see 2 or 3 lights, or if there's 2 planes, there'll be 3 lights here, 3 lights there. But these were around 12 to 15 lights, and a couple of lights were pulsating. The lights are moving in a circular formation. It was going from west to east very slowly over the Taconic. It was floating very, very slowly. And that's what kind of freaked me out, because I never seen anything like it. Usually when the planes fly, they fly kind of fast, they don't hover. This thing was hovering over the Taconic. It was like a mile in front of my car. I was there looking at it on my windshield as I'm driving. I'm going, holy crap, what is that? That's not a plane, And the whole thing lasted maybe around 12 to 15 seconds.
When I observed it flying coming over the triangle center, I don't think ultralights could keep a solid formation, stop, and pivot on an axis. Do a 180-degree turn and continue flight in another direction. I have seen the ultralights fly, and they do break formation. You see them break up and regroup. This thing never broke formation. And
quite often, there would be people standing along the side of the road here and here. And it got to the point where there were very large groups of people, almost strangely enough, like in Close Encounters, when they would, in the movie after they had their initial sightings, and on the side of the road there would be all these people lined up. Somewhere down here there's a Mount Ninum, which is up in Putnam County, if you've been on top of that at all. But there's a road, you can drive the road that goes right up the side of the mountain. And it was a really good vantage point to look at the UFOs. So I drove up there one day to see, can we use this to, dig it up and look? Because the problem we were having, with the hills here, we'd lose it when it would go behind the hills, so we'd try to get as high up as we could. So what happened was, I drove up this road and parked the car, and after I parked the car, I get out of the road and walk up this path, and what do I see on the side of the path but is this stone chamber? And I'm like, what is this? Looked like a tomb, or I didn't know what it was at first. So that was the next part of our adventure, where we found that these things were everywhere up there. They were everywhere.
So the next thing to do would be we went out with teams of people and surveyed the area. First area we came to, we found one of these stone chambers, and I said, I read about them a long time ago in a book by a Princeton College professor by the name of Barry Fell, who wrote about them possibly being of European origin long before Columbus and was practically laughed out of the academic world. And I said, gee, I've never saw one. Here's one. So, I kind of bypassed it and went to the next location. We were looking for there must be some type of thing or marker that generates this phenomena from there because it was too clustered in the area. So we went to another area and we found another stone chamber and standing stones and so on. I said, there's another one of those things. Went to another location. There they are again. And all of the locations, we either found a stone chamber, carved standing stones, or a chamber that was once there that collapsed. So I said, this is more than a coincidence. So these chambers are, besides the paranormal phenomena that's been reported in and around them, I discovered independently the connection between the phenomena and the location of the chambers by studying the UFO reports in the area. They led me to these locations. Well, this particular chamber is also the scene of a lot of UFO activity in this area on the Taconic. It's on this place on the Taconic right here that a lot of the UFO sightings took place from 1983 and 1984. A lot of the homes in the area. People who go into here at night report globes of light. People who have camped out in here, especially one particular case, 3 individuals camping on the other side of the hill over there, the overlook of the valley, actually saw an object come down, and a ship came down in this particular area, and they went to investigate, and they saw entities, beings, under the ship, under a beam of light. And they were knocked out by the being and sort of in a beam in a semi-conscious state and carried into the ship and put on tables and then released later on.
And we had cases of people who, after we would take them on the tour, would come up independently on their own and sleep out overnight in one of them and come back with reports of seeing Celtic warriors running through the woods in Putnam County and stuff. And that's a little too far-fetched for us.
Why is that?
Only because I didn't see it. If I had seen it, I'd say, okay, fine. But, we're trying to be scientific and, trying to be as objective as possible. Again, I think sometimes it's people projecting onto them what their expectations are in advance. Hey, anything is possible here, but I can only discuss what I saw, and what when I investigated, what I came up with. In some ways, it's disappointing because it seemed like it was a real special time that we got to see those things. And you would always like to say, "Wow, it would be really cool if I could see them again." But we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's disappointing. I think that it was such a short time for us, and when it was over, it seemed like it was pretty much over. It hasn't been much, I don't think. Since then.
Before the Hudson Valley UFO appeared, there was an increase in unusual phenomena, paranormal phenomena. Then the UFO appeared, and then there was an increase in paranormal phenomena again, unusual phenomena, besides the UFO. We see that pattern taking place now again.
All I know is of all the experiences that I had in my life, it had to be losing my virginity and seeing this light. Those are the 2 things I'll never forget. Okay, that's how staggering this experience was for me. Those are 2 things I'll never forget. So.
Well, you're a cop. You're supposed to know. You're supposed to tell people it's okay. What do you tell people? What did you tell them then? It wasn't your job, but what did you tell them?
I have no clue. No clue.
Mm-hmm.